Hi Billy, this is Kevin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give you a representation of what your ball valve stem measurements can be achieved. The results can be achieved on this little box here. We are able to get a ND 1400, and right now we're ready to start. The probe tip is calibrated. We're going to use this little ball in the center to represent a ball valve. And I don't have a slot in this or a square like you had on your drawings. But what I'm going to do is to represent that, I'm going to use this slot here like a slot in the ball valve, even though it's not on the ball. And I'm going to use this cylinder here. It's perpendicular, two perpendicular sides, which is going to represent the slot or square in the ball valve also. So the first thing we're going to do is, I'm not sure how you set yours up, but this is going to be representative. I'm going to push measure a sphere. And up here on the box here, you can see the little digital readout counting. Big display. It is a touch screen, easy to use. And as I start measuring, you'll see the points count up over there. Take a point on top, just like you do. 3, 4, 5, anywhere above the equator. I have 5 points taken in. I'm just going to press finish. The results pop up. I have a 9997 diameter ball. I can look at the radius by pushing that. And if I want to set that sphere, that ball, to 0, I just simply push those 0 buttons. All right, simple as that. Now what we're going to try to do is, I think you're aligning the ball valve through a couple of lines. I'm going to measure a line and a line on this part here and align this. So I just push measure again, and you can see we have a whole bunch of features. We have points, lines, circles, slots, measure magic, distance, angle, spheres, planes, cylinders, cones. So it does a lot. I'm just going to measure a line, a 2-point line on this side, there, and there. Finish it. I want to measure another line on the other side. And again, I try to represent this as being a slot in your keyway. And I'll finish that. So now if you look at my feature list, I have that first initial sphere, which is zeroed. I have the 2 lines that I measure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do what we call a bisector line, or a line that is created between those 2 previously measured lines. So if I push line, I can measure one, but also if I just push next to those and I put a little check mark next to those, it's going to create a line between those 2 lines. Finish. And there's the 3rd line that was created. And you can see my alignment's off on the machine because I just have the part setting here. If I just push a line on that, it sets that line between those 2 lines to 0. I'm done there now. And what I can do is, let's see, I want to come over and I want to measure. If I want to measure across there again, line. I don't have to measure it again once I measure it, but I'm just going to demonstrate the results that I'm going to get. Finish. There's my line. There's my 2 lines. I can just go back and look at the line. That one's 5 minutes off. I can look at that line there, see how much that one's off. If I want to look at a view, I can view those lines by hitting the view button. I'm going to go back to DRO. I'm going to create a line between those 2. It shouldn't be this complicated. Finish. You can see I'm 6/10 off this way on that ball. And if I want to do a distance across there, I can do a distance right here. And I just put a check mark next to those 2 again. I can do a distance. And there is my distance, 186,008 50 millionths across there. All right. And then if I want to look at the other side of the square, I'm going to use this cylinder out here to represent. It's not a square, but I'm going to lock the Z just so it doesn't move up and down. Boop, and just give you the idea here. Finish that again. Measure a line on the back. Good. And finish that. So I have 2 lines out back. I'm going to do the same thing I did there. I'm going to find the center of those 2 lines that were created. Finish. And there's the center of my 2 lines. And remember this? And the x-axis is off 6/10. The center of this, if this was a slot or a keyway or a square on top, this one's that's off a couple thousandths that way from the center of that. So I mean, I am getting the results I want in X and the results I am in Y. Then there's one more thing that you're doing. It looks like on that sheet you showed me, you're measuring a plane on the one side. 1, I'll take 4 points. 2, 3, 4. Finish. There's one plane. I'm going to measure a plane on the other side. And this is all programmable too. Everything that I'm doing here, all of the keystrokes and button pushing can be all programmed. So you just walk up and you just hit and launch a program, and it'll just walk you through. You just kind of step through the process, so you don't have to do all that button pushing I'm doing. So I measured these two walls that I previously measured as lines. I'm measuring those as planes now, because I think you're measuring planes on your ball valve stem slot. So now I do the same thing. I'm going to find the middle of those two planes. Finish. There's the center. It finds degrees minutes. I'm 8 minutes off on this part from these two planes that were created down the middle, and where they land in the center of that sphere is only 3/10 off. So that's how it's used. If you want to tolerate, here's the view. There's my squares, my slots, my planes together. There's my distances of that slot. I can tolerance. Let me go back up to. I can tolerance any of my features and print those things out. It'll show up green if they pass and red if they fail, and but it is all programmable, and I think that should give you a feel of how it's works. And I'm going to measure one more thing here, just show you how easy it is. Let's go to measure. I'll measure circle, and let's measure again. The little display counts. I took 4 points in. I finished it. I have a circle there. I can tolerance that if I want to. I can view that circle. You can see where my points were. They were somewhere inside. A couple were outside. I want to measure one more circle. The video is probably getting a little long, Billy. Sorry. There. I got another circle. Go to my readout. If I want to just simply, let's say I want to find the distance between those two. I push the distance button. I push that. Push that. I'm pushing too many. There we are. Those two circles that have check marks on them. Hit finish. The distance between that half-inch diameter circle and that half-inch is 1.99975. It's as simple as that. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, give us a call.